Mark Rogers TV here to recap the Belk Bowl. And here's your recap. Nick Chubb. Chubb. Nick Chubb. All the time. Workhorse, beast. Fill in the blank. He's everything when it comes to Georgia rushing the football. In the absence of Todd Gurley, of course, hurt, then suspended, then hurt again. Nick Chubb, this is how good the freshman was this season. He, of course, didn't play substantial time for the first 5 games or so because of Gurley's presence, and he still finished this game this season in 13 games as the 4th leading rusher in the history of the school for a single season, behind Herschel Walker, and Herschel Walker. Nick Chubb was that good tonight and for 2014. The freshman again. 269 yards on 32 carries, 2 touchdowns against Louisville. For the season, way over 1,500 yards. I think he pushed 1,600. Again, Walker. Then it's Nick Chubb surpassing Garrison Hurst, who wasn't too bad himself, a Heisman Trophy candidate for his stay at Georgia. Okay, let's also keep in mind that this Louisville front 7, against the run in particular, very good. SEC fans might discount that to a certain extent because they play in the ACC. But Louisville played a tough schedule. They did play Notre Dame, Florida State, Clemson, a lot of good teams, Miami, some decent teams. And Louisville, believe me, legit front 7, legit run-stopping guys that will play in the NFL. And Nick Chubb had to earn those yards. He didn't run through gaping holes all the time. Although the offensive line certainly, Georgia was the more physical team. They had Chubb, and they had more physically gifted players, stronger players. They pushed Louisville around and wore them down, and they were the dominant team. Now, it would have been interesting, more interesting possibly, if Louisville had its starting quarterback in Will Gardner, but as it turned out, Georgia had to play with its backup as well. Let's start from the top. Louisville having to go with Kyle Bolin at quarterback. Now, he turned in a great performance against Kentucky in the finale, 68%, 381 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks, in place of Will Gardner. No Michael Dyer in this game for Louisville. He has been suspended for academic misconduct, and this is his senior season, so he's done. Brandon Radcliffe filled in for the Cardinals. I was a bit surprised when I looked at the box score. 19 carries, 91 yards. Looks effective. Didn't really make an impact on this game. No Leonard Floyd for the Georgia Bulldogs. No Isaiah McKenzie suspended as well for the Georgia Bulldogs. Early in the game, Chris Conley with a post-pattern touchdown. It was beautiful. He completely burned Charles Gaines on that one. Bulldogs led it 7-0. All right, Louisville came back with a touchdown drive of its own. Christian, the tight end, made a remarkable one-handed catch in the back of the end zone. We were tied at 7. All right, Gerard Holloman, 14 interceptions, redshirt sophomore, going into the NFL draft for Louisville. I kind of question it. He did step up in the hole a number of times and show himself to be a more physical player than advertised. Again, 14 interceptions shows his coverage ability, number of pass breakups this season, leaving early again. I don't believe that's the right decision for Mr. Holloman, but he played pretty well in this game in run support. Reggie Bonnafon, the 3rd-string quarterback for Louisville, as we see many times in these bowl games, i.e. Notre Dame with Zaire and with Golson. Bonnafon got some time, and he looked atrocious. He did make one nice completion, then he got sacked in his first series, then made a horrible decision, should have been picked off. Both sides could have intercepted 4 or 5 passes. Both Georgia and Louisville defensive backs did not hang on to the football. So 10 minutes into the second quarter, Bonnafon got his shot for 2 series, and he was atrocious. And the game could have gotten away from Louisville, and did to a certain extent during this time when Bolin was not on the field. Louisville got a bit desperate. They had a bad pass on a 4th and 5 fake punt, so they set it up nicely. They had the guy open. The punter blew it. 4th and 5 at their own 31. But then they got the pick back from Bryce Ramsey. So at this point, Hutson Mason had to leave the game, his career over at Georgia. Bryce Ramsey, the freshman, came in, threw a pick immediately to Terrell Floyd, and so Louisville was in business. Bolin came back with a great pass to Devante Parker, one of the great wide receivers in college football. Had one big miscue in this game, though, on a 3rd and 10 from their own 5. So Louisville got out of its own end of the field on that one with 2 minutes left in the half. But Sony Michel, he coughed it up. Devante Parker, though, this is the miscue that really cost Louisville in terms of the first half when they were down 20-7 at this point. Tipped pass picked off by Dominique Sanders. The Georgia defensive back, freshman, picked off 2 passes in this game. Again, Devante Parker should have caught the ball. They were on the move. They were trying to cut into a 2-score game at that point. Dropped passes for Louisville. Hurt in the first half. The receivers caught the ball in the second half for the most part. Georgia dominant again. Once Mason was knocked out of the game, Bryce Ramsey came in. He did drill one to Chris Conley that was extremely impressive on a 3rd and 12 when it was still a game. 27-14. Louisville had just scored a touchdown. Devante Parker dominated that series, caught some nice throws from Bolin, and again, 27-14. And then on a 3rd and 12, after Louisville stuffed Chubb twice, 3rd and 12, Bryce Ramsey delivered to Chris Conley for the first down, and that really sealed the game at that point, going into the 4th quarter, and took the sails out of Louisville, who was looking to get the big stop after the touchdown. Chubb, again, 32 for 269, 2 touchdowns. Bryce Ramsey threw it just 9 times in replacing Hutson Mason, 4 of 9, 51 yards, and the pick on his first throw. After that, he took care of the football. Sony Michel ran it 11 times for the Georgia Bulldogs. So looking ahead, yes, Georgia the better football team. Again, I would love to have seen Gardner and Mason on the field for these 2 football teams, but Georgia separated itself because defensively they're just too overwhelming for Louisville, and that's pretty much it. They're a stronger football team. Man-to-man stronger football team in the front sevens on both sides of the ball. Georgia losing in 2015, wide receivers Michael Bennett and Chris Conley. Let's put their production into perspective during their careers. 2 not extremely dynamic, prolific receivers, but 40, 45 catch guys every year. Played their entire careers for Georgia, were impact players, contributors as freshmen all the way through. Michael Bennett, 134 catches, 17 touchdowns in his Georgia career. Chris Conley caught 117 and 20 touchdowns. The Georgia Bulldogs lose David Andrews, their center. They lose at linebacker Rameek Wilson, who had 102 tackles this year, and also Marlo Herrera, an underrated player for his state at Georgia, led the SEC in tackles a couple times, and I don't know where he finished this year, but he led the team at 112 tackles. And cornerback Damian Swan, who came back from a down, let's see, that would have been a down sophomore season after he really took off as a freshman. Sophomore season, or was that his junior season? One bad season in that career, but he played a lot of football for Georgia. He had 4 interceptions this year, including one tonight. Again, Dominique Sanders with 2 as a freshman. Swan had his 8th career interception tonight, his 4th this season. Again, before we sign off on this recap, we want to give a lot of credit to Georgia's offensive line. Listen to the names. Left tackle John Theus, gone. The left guard, Brandon Kublanow. Center, David Andrews, we mentioned him. Guard, Greg Pike. Let me make a correction. Theus not gone. That's David Andrews, the center, gone, senior. Theus, honorable mention, or 3rd team, I believe, all-SEC player. So from left to right along the offensive line, it's Theus, it's Kublanow, it's Andrews, it's Greg Pike at the right guard, and right tackle is Colton Houston leading the way for Nick Chubb. Couldn't have done it without these guys. For as good as he is, he was rarely hit in the backfield. Yes, he made some special moves, and the guy is a bowling ball. He rolled over people for extra yardage, but they provided the space. All right, Georgia wins. They move to 10-3. Louisville loses to fall to 9-4. They probably won't finish in the top 25. Georgia at number 13 right now going into this game. Not an extremely impressive win in terms of who they beat, but in the manner in which they did, it was a dominant second half performance for Georgia. They could slip into the top 10. We'd love to hear what you have to say about Georgia and Louisville. This game, this season, 2014, springing forward to 2015, right here on Mark Rogers TV.